In this video I customised some Zone Mortalis terrain. Hello Bitzbox, this is Craig from Bitzbox.co.uk here with another Necromunda converting video. This time I'm customising some Zone Mortalis terrain to make them a little bit more interesting and add some different elements to them. So before I begin, I just want to give a huge shout out and a massive thank you to all of our patrons. If you want to know what a Patreon is all about, there is a link in the description down below. And if you're new to this channel and you like all things hobby related, then do feel free to hit the subscribe button. So yeah, let's convert some terrain. Okay guys, so we're going to be looking at some of the Zone Mortalis pieces in this video. And just some sort of like alternative things that you could perhaps do with them, just to make them a bit more interesting. So if you're not familiar with the kit, you get these sort of pillars. So imagine you have 4 of them. They make a square, and we'll see the other 2 in a minute. They have little bits of battle damage on them, little dents from bullets and stuff like that. But I thought we could change them up a bit. So most of them look like this. Some of them have little pipes on here, but ultimately they look about the same from throughout. And I think you get about 6 sprues of these in the starter set, and each sprue has 8 of these pieces on each one. So, you know, that's not a great deal of variation, and thought we'll try something different with them. So, what I was thinking, now I've seen someone do this on Instagram actually, and they've done some really cool stuff with these, and I'm going to try and do something with these as well. Right, sort of cutting this bit out now. There are a couple of ways to go about it. Always start the same way though. Either get a drill or something to drill out a hole, like a little pin vise or something. You don't need a massive power drill, but or you can get like a craft knife like I am, and then just sort of twist it in, and eventually you'll get a hole going through. Now, of course, if you want to add just like little bits of extra battle damage, you could use this method just to add some battle damage. Now, watch your fingers on the other side. You don't want to be getting any holes in yourself. Essentially you can get a hole like that, and now you could do several of these holes and eventually sort of cut through them, sort of join them up, and then you'll end up sort of getting the whole thing out. Or you could grab something like a Dremel, which is what I did, and I'll show you that in a minute, and then you can eventually get out most of this bit and then use your knife just to neaten up the edges. Now, I'm not going to do it on camera. I would recommend, if you are going to use a Dremel or something like that, do it in a more ventilated area with a mask and even goggles as well, because sometimes these bits of plastic can sort of fly off. It's not the cleanest or best of jobs, but here's one I made earlier. That's not very neat, I'm afraid. Oops, I'll throw it about as well. But yes, you've got to be so careful with a Dremel, because it's so easy just to slip. But it doesn't really matter, because, you know, I like the battle damage and stuff like that, and I don't want these to be like proper neat. And you can always just go over them with something anyway, but yeah, that's sort of what I'm going for. While I'm on the subject of a Dremel, I did use mine to add like extra bits of battle damage to this piece, so I've got like little big sort of bigger holes, trying to like maybe like a melter gun's shot into it or something like that. And that sort of adds a bit more battle damage. That's something else you can do if you don't want to go too extreme to open these up and put stuff inside, which is what we're going to do in a moment. But yeah, that gives us our 4 pieces. And when you do these, you only really need to, like, if you want to add some variation, I wouldn't add variation to every side. I would just do the sort of 2 sides opposite each other, maybe, because normally you have walls coming off these, or maybe just like maybe 2 sort of adjacent. It's entirely up to you, but I probably wouldn't do more than 2 sides. And of course you can mix them up, turn them around, and all sorts. So sometimes you might have your sort of side covered up, depending on how you do your walls. And I think we'll look at some sort of longer walls as well later in this video. But for now, I'm just going to give you an idea of something you can do with this piece. So I was thinking of doing like a weapons cache or something, like have some sort of rifles there as a little weapons pickup or something. I think that could be quite cool. So yeah, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to get some bits together and see what I can ultimately come up with. Okay, so what I've done is I've on the inside, I've added these little pieces of sprue to act as like little sort of risers or like a wall. And then I've got a piece of just a Warhammer box that I'm going to place on there, and that'll give us like a little sort of recessed little alcove bit for our little weapons cache. So I mean, as simple as that really. You could put anything you want in here. I may do another one with like some shelves in. Again, like I think I really can't remember who, but there's a guy on Instagram. If I do find him, I'll link to his stuff. Who done like all these really cool bookshelves and stuff. And I do have some like interesting little books that I could actually use for something like that. So I'll probably do that on another one. But yeah, for this video, I'll just a weapons cache, and I'm gonna glue that back on. I'm just gonna use poly cement. Probably not the best glue. You might want to use super glue, but I think it'll just about do the job. And get that on there. So on the inside, obviously you're not going to see a lot of this. However, I do recommend staying below this line here, because when you put the top pieces on, they come to about here. So you don't want nothing to interfere with them, and obviously don't go too far over to interfere with the other wall sections either when they go on. So then you can dry fit it all, and then you'll know for sure. But yeah, that's given us a nice little sort of alcove, and I'll give that a bit of time to dry, and whilst I do that I'll get some weapons together. Okay, so the trickiest part to this probably is finding weapons that are in one piece. I've got this one, it's sort of Space Marine Flamer, Space Marine Bolt Gun, and this weapon from the Delac sprue. Yeah, they're probably few and far between. Another thing you can do, a lot of weapons will just have a hand on them. You could always cut the hands off and maybe try and put some sort of handle thing on there. But you know, such weapons are about just a case of getting them. I know that some of the AdMech sets will have some weapons on their own. Yeah, you don't get them so much these days, but you certainly used to back in the day. So if you've got some old stuff, like I have, then you'll find a lot of these. Fear not, if you don't have access to weapons like that. A lot of the Necromunda sets do have like these boxed weapons. You could maybe have some way of utilising them, maybe some sort of shelves at a slight angle, or even having them stuck on the wall if you so wish. It would kind of work. So there are options. For this one, sort of work out roughly where you want your things to go. I've got something going across like that. And then get another piece of sprue and sort of use it as like a lower shelf. So the only annoying thing about sprues is that they obviously kind of sloped a little bit. And I'm going to glue that piece in. Not really too worried about it sticking to a card, but it should stick to them walls hopefully. And you want to kit it as straight as you can. Now, of course, this is going to be fiddly as it can be, but might need filing down just a little bit more. That's quite a tight fit. I want there to be a little bit of wiggle room so it can go in. Yeah, something like that. If it wants to go, it doesn't want to go in straight. There we go. There we go. So that's your shelf. Try and get it as straight as you can. Might need to come down just a touch on that side. This is where you need a very tiny little spirit level sidewall, something like that. Still feels like it's a little bit up on that side. Yeah, that'll do. That'll be perfect. I'll probably let that dry before I do anything else, but yeah, I'm going to have them just like that. It's best to have them sort of that way up, I think. If you look at any sort of vertical weapon stands, they're normally that way up. And if you wanted, you could have something along the top also, as like an extra support. I'm probably not going to bother here. And also you could you may decide to paint these before you pop them in, but they're going to go in something like that. Stick that one in the middle. But yeah, obviously once they're glued in, they will be looking pretty good. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so they're in place now. They're quite tricky to try and keep vertical. They're always slightly angled. But you get the gist. I've just found a little ball pistol as well, so I chucked that on the little shelf at the bottom. You could put grenades and such on there. I've had like these Necromunda ones, they're just slightly too big. I've got little grenades, but I thought the bolt pistol was quite cool. So yeah, it's like a little weapons cache, just sort of in the wall there. So I think that's pretty cool. Now if you were to do like some shelves or bookcase or something, you could start off the same way, and then instead of using sprue to go across, I've got like a coffee stirrer. You could use like coffee stirrer to make little shelves. So, you know, there's plenty of little options you can do, or you can just use plastic card. Okay, so here's another one that I've made, and I've put some little shelves in there. I don't put anything on there. I haven't decided what's going on them yet, but I think there's something. I mean, literally could put anything, couldn't you? So, yeah. I don't know. Any ideas, drop them in the comments. I'm going to do another one with like little books and stuff. I've got these. I actually chopped these up. And it's from like an Empire kit. I'm going to make another one, and I'm just going to pop them in because I've got a bit of shelf on them already. But I'll just try and make some sort of ready-made shelves. But yeah, sort of guns. Again, maybe grenades, whatnot. Anything. But yeah. So I hope that gives you an idea for these pieces, and yeah, the next part of this video we're going to look at the wall sections and see what we can do with them. Okay, so wall pieces now, and yeah, I've done pretty much the same thing with this one. I've just chopped out this bit. Again, it's not the neatest in the world, but I don't know, I do quite like the sort of ruined nature of these. They need to be battered up a little bit more. Speaking of which, this one's got a big hole in it, and I'm going to look at this one first. So essentially what I'm going to do is a very similar thing at the back. I'll put some sprue and a bit of cardboard around the back. I think it's just important to give them a back. So when it comes to... because otherwise you'll be looking into them, and yeah. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. But I'm not going to glue it on straight away. So I'm actually going to make the little box first. And once I've done that, I'll be back. Okay, so... slight little bit of change of plan. I did actually glue the sprue onto the back, but left the back and card off. So what I've got, Q-tip, cotton bud, and whatever you call them, whatever side of the wall you live on. I'm going to chop off the end. Obviously I don't use a used one. I think it goes without saying. And that's going to act as like a little pipe at the back here, so I'll just eyeball that. Always cut it a little bit longer than you think you need, because you can easily chop them shorter, but you can't easily make them longer. And chop a little bit, bits are sort of flying off. Oh, that bit didn't. And that can go in there as like a little pipe. And I've also got a piece of guitar string. We can put some of that in there as well. Cut off a little section of that. Some people do some really cool things with guitar string. I always find it quite hard to bend it to the shape I want. Because you could even have it sort of poking out just a little bit, but not too fussed about that. But I will put it in, obviously it isn't glued down, at more of an angle. Let's make it a little bit more visually interesting. So I will just get my clippers just to pull that. I think if I can find it, just a super glue for these. So just a little dollop there, came a bit too quick. Stick that like that, and very quickly work it so we can get it straight. Of course, both have to be dead straight, but They usually would be. Same for the guitar string. Just drop some super glue in there. Let's pick up with the clippers. And in there. That can go at an angle like that. And I'll probably just get some other sort of wire to hang down behind it. So I'll just quickly try and think of what I can use for that. I've got a bit of wire actually poking about. That could potentially work. I'll see what else I've got. Yeah, so I've got one of these tie wrap things. Literally just picked up just as soon as I turned the camera off. That could sort of go on top of that like so. So I'll cut some of that off. And yeah, that can just sort of go behind these things. You're not going to see a great deal of it. Chop it down a bit more. But that's good, it just adds sort of an extra little dimension to this. I'll chop that. Stick that in there. And that can go in there like so. So, on the other side it looks sort of something like that. And then, a bit of card can go on the back. Like that. So then you've got like a sort of hole blown in the wall with a bit of sort of a pipe and stuff exposed behind it. I quite like that. So we'll move on to the next one and think of what we can do with this. At this current stage I have absolutely no idea, but of course I'll think about what to do and then I'll make the final part of this video. Okay, so got our usual sprue and card little alcove going. Now of course you can do these alcoves deeper if you so wish, you don't have to do it the way I'm doing them. But I'm quite liking them at the moment. In this one, I've got a bit of plastic drinking straw here that I'm going to use to act as a pipe going across. I've got one of these little console things from one of the Necromunda sprues that came in the start set. I've chopped the sort of legs off it and I'm going to pop it up there like so. And I think what I'm going to do, just to make this pipe a little bit more interesting, I'm going to take some card, I've been playing around with it, and I'll sort of wrap it around some bits of tube. Now plastic card might be a little bit better because the card, as you can see, sort of has these little angles in them. It doesn't sort of bend round. But that's fine. I can live with that. I think it's be hardly noticeable. So yeah, I'm gonna get that cut up and stuck on there, and then I'll show you the final result. And then we'll call it there for this video. I have some other ideas with things I'm going to do with these, and that'll be in another video in the near future. Okay, so this is what we've got here. I chopped the straw in half just because it was a little bit too big just to go in there as it was. And I'll put these bits of card around there to look like they're sort of supporting it in. You probably don't need them, but I'd add them anyway. That one really hasn't sort of gone round properly, but so I can sort of push that in. That's not sort of stuck down at the bottom. And yeah, so I think I'm going to leave this video here. It's gone long enough. I have been playing around a little bit with these pieces off camera as well, so they can do that. And I'm going to show you a video on all the wonders of magnetising these sets, because there's a lot more you can do than just stick these together like that. But yeah, so that's the first sort of video on these things. I'll probably do, as I said, I'll do a magnetising one and a few other bits as well. But yeah, so this is what we've got. We've got these ones here for the walls. So I'm really happy with that one actually. It's very simple and works really well. I'm going to get like some little skulls and little symbols and stuff to put on there, I think. Maybe make it like a little sort of altar thing. That'd be quite cool. And of course, way back at the beginning we started with the weapons cache. So yeah, there's just so many things you can do with these, and I hope these have given you some ideas for what you can do with yours. Mix them up, have fun. I'll see you all in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, then please feel free to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. You can also click that bell icon to be notified when a new video has gone live on this channel. On the screen now are 2 more videos that you may wish to check out, and a link to our Patreon page also. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.